Hey, it's Alze Calhoun with Coveted Consultants. I was working with a client recently, and we were working together to structure her coaching calls better. And we talked about a lot of different strategies, tools, techniques, timings, all those kinds of things. But by the time we got through talking, there were so many different notes flying around the room, she needed a more elegant summary of what it was that we discussed. And she asked, Alze, what 3 things can I do to become a better coach? I'm offering you the same straight talk I offered her. Number 1, you are not Tony Robbins. When we think about business and life coaches, our brains go to the stratospheric names. We think about Tony Robbins, Ian Van Zant, Marshall Goldsmith, Jay Abraham, and absolutely, these are phenomenal coaches. The truth is, you are not any of those people, nor do you need to be. When you see one of those big names, they're often on stage. You see them in their full charisma, their full poise, their full polish. Really what you're looking at is a highlight reel of the very best thing they have to offer. What you don't see is how curated that moment is. You don't see that they might be reading from a teleprompter with prepared notes. You don't see the people who are supporting them with lights, camera, and sound all around them. You don't realize that you're looking at someone who's been doing coaching work in that format for decades. So if you take that moment strictly at face value, you see this person performing at an incredibly high level, and you look at yourself and your situation, and you don't seem to have any of those particular skills. And right there in that gap is where imposter syndrome fits. You feel like you're trying to act like somebody else, when in fact you are. You're trying to perform to a standard that's not natural to you. Your client didn't hire any of those fancy experts. Your client chose to hire you. You owe your client the best version of yourself. Give them that. Number 2, you are not John Machida Jr. Who is that, you ask? Well, he's the guy who used to have the Guinness Book of World Records for talking fast. You might remember him from the old Micro Machines commercials.
This is the Micro Machine Man presenting the most midget miniature motorcade of Micro Machines. Each one has dramatic details, terrific trim, precision paint jobs, plus incredible Micro Machine pocket playsets. There's a police station, fire station, restaurant, service station, and more. Perfect pocket portables to take any place. And there are many miniature playsets to play with, and each one comes with its own special edition Micro Machine vehicle and fun, fantastic features that miraculously move.
That is unnecessary. Your job as a coach is to solve for the problem you hear. Your client is working through a process. Somewhere in that process, they've gotten stuck. Your job is to offer them some coaching or some advisory to move them through and keep their progress flowing. Yet and still, you still find yourself interrupting anyway. Why is that? Many of us get caught in this mistake because we actually want to help. And we find ourselves speaking prematurely because we want to show the client how much we know and how much we care. However, it's really important that you hear the entire problem that a client is offering you so you can give them a solution that matches. The trouble is, listening isn't only about stopping the words that come out of your mouth. It's about stopping the words that come out of your brain. If you really want to hear all of the context and complexity of your client's situation, take the energy that you were going to use to speak and instead use it to listen. Number 3, you are not Harry Houdini. You're not Harry Houdini, David Copperfield, Penn and Teller, or David Blaine. In other words, you are not a magician. There is no rule that says you're supposed to have a silver bullet answer for every question your client answers you. That's an unfair expectation, and do not put that expectation on yourself. Still, I can appreciate where you get this expectation from because a lot of us have a lot of schooling. And in school, you take a lot of tests, and those tests often have very specific, singular right answers. But as a coach, you work with real people who are living real lives. And that has dynamics and complexity that needs to be thoughtfully considered so the best recommendation can come forward. Now, the best coaches are always working a process. They know that situations have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and they have tools, perspectives, and frameworks to help not only guide the process, but also ensure that a healthy resolution is always found. So you watch an experienced coach, and they appear to patiently listen, and then immediately have the right answer. But just because the process is not being literally played out in front of you does not mean that a process does not exist. You didn't see someone pull a rabbit out of a hat. What you saw was a professional following a very deliberate, disciplined approach. It just happened up here. Now, as a coach, when you come across a situation for the first time, you may have to work your process very deliberately. You may need pen, paper, and a variety of other tools. But as you get more comfortable, you may need fewer and fewer of these tools to help execute the process. Now, the best part here is that these 3 skills scale. If you want to know what that scaling process looks like, I've made a video for you. It's available right here. These 3 skills are going to continue to serve you as your business gets bigger and more complicated. We're talking about serving authentically, listening actively, and following a disciplined process. In fact, the bigger your business gets, the more you're going to need these skills. Click that video to see what I mean.